Long ago, in the frozen lands of the north, where the wind howled through the deep forests and the mountains stood tall like ancient giants, the people of Scandinavia told stories of beings who lived in the shadows of the world. These were the dwarves and the elves, creatures of magic and mystery, woven into the very fabric of Norse myth. And though they were seldom seen, their presence was carved into stone, runestones that stood as silent witnesses to their legends. The dwarves were small, but mighty, dwellers of the earth's dark depths. They were the master craftsmen of the gods, forging weapons of great power and treasures beyond mortal dreams. Deep inside their mountain halls, they worked with hammer and anvil, shaping the fate of gods and men alike. One such dwarf was Brokkr, whose skill was unmatched. It was said that he and his brother Sindri once crafted Thor's mighty hammer, Mjolnir, a weapon so powerful it could level mountains. The gods prized the work of the dwarves, for without them, even the mightiest of the Aesir would have been left defenseless. But the dwarves were not always kind. Their hearts were as hard as the stone they lived within, and their greed was legendary. There was a tale of a dwarf named Andvari, who hoarded a cursed ring in a mountain of gold. When the gods demanded his treasure, he placed a terrible curse upon it, dooming all who possessed it. This gold would later bring ruin to heroes and kings, proving that the gifts of the dwarves came with a heavy price. The elves, on the other hand, were beings of light and shadow. The Norse knew them as the Ljósálfar, the light elves, who lived in a realm of eternal beauty called Alfheim. They were fairer and wise, friends to the gods, and their magic was gentle yet powerful. It was said that the light of the elves could heal wounds and bring peace to troubled hearts. The gods themselves often sought their counsel, for the elves knew secrets of the world that even Odin, the Allfather, had yet to discover. But not all elves were kind. There were the Dökkálfar, the dark elves, who lived in the hidden places of the earth. Some said they were the same as the dwarves, while others believed they were something else entirely. These elves were cunning and often dangerous, weaving spells to lead travelers astray or stealing children in the night. The people of the north whispered warnings about them, leaving offerings of bread and milk to keep their ill will at bay. The runestones of the Viking Age tell us much about these beings. Carved with care by skilled hands, these stones were more than just markers of the dead. They were messages to the unseen world. Some stones bore images of dwarves, their stout forms bent over their work, while others showed elves dancing in the moonlight. One famous runestone, the Runestones, even speaks of forgotten battles and the ancient magic that once flowed through the land. But why did the Norse carve these beings into stone? Perhaps it was to honor them, to ask for their protection, or simply to remind themselves that the world was older and stranger than they knew. The dwarves and elves were not just stories. They were part of the land itself, as real as the wind and the waves. And though the ages have passed, their legends live on, etched forever in the stone. So the next time you walk beneath the shadow of an old mountain, or stand in a quiet forest at dusk, remember, the dwarves might still be working deep below, and the elves might be watching from between the trees. The runestones were their testament, and their stories are not yet finished.